So, I want to tell you guys how I am making money, how I plan to make money, and do it all while being a single mom. I thought it would be fun if we do this while I'm doing my makeup again. You guys really liked the last Get Ready with Me. So, that's the plan. I'm going to tell you about my short term and long term financial goals and all of the ways that I am planning on bringing in income. So, if that sounds interesting to you, please keep watching. Also, make sure you hit subscribe and like and comment. It helps me so much. And we'll get into that. So, you might have seen on Instagram that I did a little Sephora shopping, and I wanted to share with you the best product that I got. And my favorite is actually this Rhode bronzer. It's like a contour bronzer. It's in the shade Sip. It's called the Pocket Bronze. And this product really surprised me. I thought that this was going to be what I ended up returning, and it wasn't. So it's this like cool toned contour. And I think the best thing to do is show it to you on my face. So I'll be using that while we do our makeup and talk a little bit about my financial plans. I feel like it's important to start off by saying that everybody has different situations. And I think it's important to note that I am not trying to minimize anybody else's situation. I'm just sharing my own. So if you can relate, that's awesome. And if you guys are struggling too, I'm here. Please reach out because I get it. I feel it. I live it. I know it. And I'm all about connection and community. So I would love to speak more to you guys about all of that stuff. I feel like I've shared a lot of my financial journey on here. I think that that's a huge part of being young and divorced. Like I mentioned, I had no idea about our finances or how to handle money at all in general. I've always been bad with that, but when I became single and it was all on me to budget, let's just say I couldn't. I really didn't know how to budget, and I would try to learn, but the truth is that it was just overwhelming for me at the time. I feel like I just had a lot going on and it wasn't the right time. I wasn't ready, and it is what it is. I got to it eventually. So I guess the biggest thing to start with is the budget. And I have to say that ChatGPT helped me a lot with the budgeting. I think that for a while, it's been years now, I really struggled. I'm really bad with numbers, but as soon as I told ChatGPT what I needed to do, like what I needed to be spending on, my expenses and also my goals and plans, it was super helpful to get started. I learned how to budget my money, and I get a fixed amount of child support and I have to allocate that correctly. So I had to figure out how much groceries cost and all of our other expenses. And that was really new to me. And I know that sounds stupid, maybe to some people, but it was something I really struggled with. But I feel like I've come a really far way, and I'm seeing the success and I guess you can call fruits of my labor. Something that's really been helping me is a method called cash stuffing. So, what you do with cash stuffing, I feel kind of funny talking like this. What I find has been helping me is that I take out a certain amount of cash for the week and I try not to spend it all, but I allocate it for different categories. So, if I know I'm getting my hair done that week, I have a envelope for money that goes towards beauty, gas, the kids, whatever it is. And that organization and having the cash physically there has helped me so much because I'm not spending everything on my card like I was before. I would see the money and think that that was available to spend, but the truth is that it wasn't. So what I needed to be doing and what I eventually did and what's really the first step in all of this is paying your debt, getting through the debt. And I think that that's the hardest part. That's definitely the most intimidating part. It was for me. I didn't know where to start. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know anybody who could help me, but I found somebody who could help me and I got through it. And don't get me wrong, my credit is totally messed up from all of this. It's a journey. It's a marathon, not a sprint, right? So along with the cash stuffing for short-term things, I'm also starting to do it for long-term things. So I have a envelope for vacations that I want to take and eventually buying a house and savings and an emergency fund. And I've never been so good at not touching money. I think that this method, while it might not, be the answer for everybody, has really helped me. And by the way, how's that bronzer contour looking? Pretty good, right? So back to the short-term, long-term thing. Short-term, I did what I could this year while readjusting to make money. And I guess you could say, fortunately, unfortunately, it's definitely not sustainable, but I was selling a lot of my stuff and I still am. That's, I think, my main income source at the moment. It's not predictable and eventually it will run out. So it did allow me to be home with the kids and focus on them this year while everybody was getting readjusted to living in New York. And I'm super grateful for that. And I think that that was really the right move for our family. But like I said, that is part of the short term plan. And now, I'm using the wrong brush. And now we are focusing more on the long term plan. Another thing I did short term, and this isn't something that everybody can do, and I wasn't able to do it until I moved back home, but I sold my car. And that was really tough for me because I saw that car as something that I was able to get myself, and I was really proud of that car. That was like the one thing that I had when we got divorced. Like, the car was still mine. The car was always mine. The car was in my name. Nothing else was in my name, but the car was in my name. So that car felt like it had more meaning to me, maybe than it should have. By the way, do you see that? That's this Westman Atelier. I don't know if this is a bronzer or a highlighter, but it's insane. And this is like my go-to make yourself dewy product. I sold my car and I know not everybody can do that. And I wasn't able to do that for a while, but it definitely helped astronomically. So what I was able to do with the money that I made from selling the car was actually invest it. So again, that was something new for me. I had never invested or saved or anything like that before. I was always told I didn't have to. And that was coming from the man who, controlled everything. But I did. I did have to. So I got really lucky in that I was able to sell my car because my father had actually kept my car from high school, like my first car. So it's a 2011 Jeep Wrangler and it's so nostalgic for me. And there's something really special about my kids being able to be in that car. I think it just like has so many memories and that just kind of goes back to what I always say, which is when you focus on the good gets better. And while this wasn't, my ideal situation, it did work out because now I'm able to invest and I'm learning. Don't worry, I'm not like going rogue. I have people helping me, and it's really exciting because I'm finally seeing, I guess you could say, the light at the end of the tunnel or a future and financial success for myself, which I never really saw before. Something that I've always been is a hustler. I hustle. I always have a hustle. So something I did when I was younger is if there was a hustle to be had, I was having it. So now that I am a single mom and older, I've had to kind of think of, okay, what's going to be my next hustle? And I started this podcast not thinking that it was going to make me money because I feel like if you're going to do something like this, you have to do it because you really want to. Otherwise, you're just not going to do it. And it's not easy. It's not easy to talk about things. It's not easy to edit the videos. It's not easy to promote yourself. It's not easy to be worried about other people's opinions. I think it takes a lot to do this. And now it's actually become a way for me to make money. What I did when I started out was I said to myself, I'm not going to be afraid to charge people for a subscription to my podcast. If I believe that it's worth it, they're going to believe it too. And sure enough, there's an audience that wants to subscribe to my podcast, and I charge a monthly fee for exclusive content, and I'm able to make a little bit of money off of that. But what I'm hoping is that there is room for growth here. So the podcast has been something that I'm now trying to monetize. I think that's the right word, is monetize, whether it be brand partnerships or really what my goal is right now is that I'm super close to being able to have monetized ads on my video. And I feel like that's a great way to have some sort of passive income along with my other plans. Another one of my plans, I mentioned this in a couple videos ago, is that I am currently taking courses to get my real estate license. What I like about that is the flexibility of the job and the hours. No matter what I do, I'm still going to prioritize my children. I am parent numero uno, and most of the time only, and I don't have as much help as, some other people have. So the real estate thing is where I really see myself actually able to support the kids. Not that the podcast won't or can't or that I don't believe it, but I think it's also really important to diversify my income. I have a lot of plans, a lot of goals, a lot of dreams. And while it's important to me that I don't spread myself too thin and just come up with all of these crazy ideas, I am focused on a few. The way that the world is designed is not in favor of single mothers. And like I said, there are people who have it easier, there are people who have it harder. I am not trying to compare anybody's situation, but in my own experience and what I live is that my kids need me at the drop of the hat almost all the time. Every week, there's either a field trip or a special day at school, or they get sent home sick. It's always something, and I'm not able to be reliable at a typical 9 to 5 job at the moment. I just don't have the support, and any job that I'm able to get is not going to be paying enough for me to get help with the kids. It doesn't make sense. And I think that that's something that a lot of women, mothers, single mothers are experiencing. It's not possible to get it all done. Along with the paying off of the debt, something else I've been working on is my credit score. I guess you could say I was kind of naive here, but when I married my ex-husband, I remember him specifically saying, you never have to worry about your credit score. Don't worry about your credit score. And I listened to him that my credit score wasn't important because he had the money in the bank to back up anything that we ever needed to buy. But as soon as we got divorced, I had a lifestyle to maintain. And the only way for me to do it was on credit cards. I was in for a serious financial shock. And at 26 years old, I wasn't prepared for it. Maybe some people are, but I definitely wasn't. So I'm working on building my credit because now I have real goals, and the only person to sign for these things and accomplish these goals is me. And I totally messed up my credit. I started receiving a little bit less in child support, and our lifestyle in Miami was just too much. It was really too much, and I couldn't keep up, is the truth. And to make my kids feel like, maybe not only my kids, but also myself, to make us all feel like, we weren't having to sacrifice any more than we already were. I'll call it reckless. I recklessly spent money that we shouldn't, but you live and you learn, right? And nobody else was going to be able to figure this out for me. So I'm sharing this because I'm not a financial and budgeting expert, but maybe you're not either. And you can watch this and be like, oh, okay, this is how she's doing it. Maybe that'll work for me. And get yourself back on the horse. So everyone's favorite part, I have a new boyfriend, and we've been together for a couple of months now, and we have a lot of goals, and a lot of our goals are things that we can build together, and other ones are individual, but it all comes back to our partnership. And I think that not only is that really motivating, but again, when I was talking about diversifying income, we have different ways of doing that between the two of us. And it's very much like two is stronger than one. It's a little intimidating to go into another relationship and be worried about financial transparency, but I did express that that's super important to me. And so far, so good. But as our relationship progresses, like I said, I really see us building a life together, building businesses together, making money together. And I think that with our unique skill sets, like I said, we're just stronger and better together. And that's what I was always looking for in a partner. Of course, you want somebody to be your best friend and you want to be compatible. But what was really important to me specifically when I really thought about it and experienced through trial and error, I guess you could say, is that I wanted a teammate. I wanted someone who was cheering me on and was ready to build something with me and be on my team, and likewise me on theirs. I am a ride or die kind of person. So I wasn't looking for anybody who was like, oh, I'm not sure, not ambitious enough. But I feel like that's where we really connect and work well. He has a lot of goals, and so do I. And I think we're going to be able to accomplish them together. So that connection is really valuable to me. I also think that he helps me see the future and a future, and I want to build that life. So that's what I'm doing by saving and thinking of new ways to make money. I love working. Do this because I love this. I need something to do that fulfills me. If I was able to work, I would love to do that, but wasn't in the cards. Now, none of these things that I'm doing are actually like providing for me other than selling my stuff right now, but I do see that they have a lot of potential for growth. So, another thing that I'm doing is sharing Amazon links. They're just affiliate links, and I make a commission off of them. And I find that with my friends, close friends, family, anybody who's watching my content, I have people reach out all the time and they're like, oh, where did you get this from? Or what are you wearing? Or whatever it is. And it's like, I might as well make some money off of this. So I do. And I'm totally transparent about it because, like I said earlier in the video, all of the support that you guys give me on this video or by clicking my Amazon links, all of that is so helpful and will only help me grow and further be able to make money to support my family through these things that I truly enjoy and love doing. Like, if I could make a living off connecting with people like this and building relationships, whether it be virtually or just having some sort of impact on somebody else, I can't think of anything I would rather do. So this is really working for me. And I hope that eventually it's able to provide. You know, they always say, like, do what you love. So hoping that works. But that brings it back to why I'm so diversified in my income streams at the moment, because one could fail, one could not work, one could be gone tomorrow. And I think I've lived all of that uncertainty already. And I'm finally ready to be able to take control of my own finances and my own financial goals. And I don't know who typically teaches people this kind of stuff, but maybe it was just one of those things you had to like learn along the way as you were growing up, but I definitely didn't. And I am so terrible with numbers that I couldn't really figure it out properly. And that's why I was saying that ChatGPT and resources like that, who are just better and more qualified, were life changing. I am somebody who needs a plan. And as soon as I have a plan and I can stick to the plan, I feel so much better. And I knew that I needed little wins to be able to make me feel like I was progressing in a positive financial way where I was actually saving money. So, another little trick that I made for myself is that when I spend cash and I get singles back, I put all those singles in an envelope. And then whenever that envelope gets a little big, I take those singles out and I put them right into savings envelopes. So, whether that be for vacation, the house, whatever I'm long term saving for. It's a dollar here and there, you know, like a couple of bucks, but everything counts. And at the end of the day, it's super fulfilling to be able to like open that binder and see all my cash and feel the envelopes getting bigger. That's just something that I needed to be able to motivate myself because this was so daunting for me. Trying to figure out how to make money as a single mom is almost impossible. I can't stress enough how much the odds are against a single mother who is trying to provide for her family and build a career. I also feel like my new relationship is helping me see that my life is more than me. My life is more than the kids. I want my life to be more than me and more than the kids. And I want things for us. I want to be able to provide. I want to be able to contribute and feel like this is a true partnership. And while it might not always be 50-50, we are true teammates, have each other's backs. Like I said, that's just something that I have realized is super important to me after my marriages and relationships that didn't work out. I think that I'm learning a lot about myself through this whole process. I mean, even just with budgeting, I'm learning about my priorities, what, really matters. If you're struggling to budget or with finances and you're a single mother or a mother or just anyone, as I was, a young girl in my 20s, I didn't know anything. I should have been watching videos on YouTube about people saving money. I didn't know any techniques, I didn't know any methods. it didn't really make sense to me. But now that I have educated myself, I feel like I am in a much better position to continue this journey. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys being on this journey with me, and I'll speak to you guys soon.